Hi, my name is Barbara Sliker, and I'm a member of the OMNIUM. The OMNIUM is an organization here at Norristown High School whose goal is to unify the school through diversity. Today we're presenting our annual Let's Get Together and Talk show. The topic for today is the image of NAHS. Before we begin, I'd especially like to thank Dr. Sandler for all of the support she has given us. And now, here's our moderator, Jerry McGlenigan.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Jerry McGlenigan. I will be your moderator today for this year's Let's Get Together and Talk. Now, really today we're here to discuss one word and one word only, and that word is image. But more importantly, it's the image of Norristown Area High School. So my first question for you is this: where do you feel our image, Norristown Area High School's image, stands as of today?
Yes, I feel that Norristown High School's image has definitely not reached its total peak of great coverage in the media, but I feel that it's above, I'd say, the norm. I guess you could say we need more positive publicity rather than the negative.
Right. So you're saying the media is playing has a role in kind of bad mouthing our school.
Yes, definitely.
Does anyone else agree with this statement?
I really do, especially some local newspapers that they only publish what's going on in the school that is bad. And it was brought up in our last newspaper meeting that the one good article they did publish had the headline, "Norristown area students enter below national average." And the article was actually good, but by reading the headline you wouldn't know that.
All right. How does anyone else feel? Does anyone feel that anything else plays a role in this besides the media?
I do too. It's not only the media; it's the support of the community, which is something that we need. Besides having, I guess, good PR, we also need, I guess, members from our community and outside our community support us also.
So you're saying we need more support from the community around us, rather than just help from within the school, but from everything around us.
First of all, we have to get to the students. The students need to start respecting people and respecting themselves. First, if we have that, then it wouldn't be no problems. Our image, all this negativity that's going on in the school wouldn't be here if the students have more self-esteem of themselves and learned how to respect others.
Right. So you're saying that one of the key ways to clean up our image is to start from the students cleaning up their own image first.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Does anyone else agree or disagree?
Well, I sort of disagree. I don't think that it's just the students who don't respect themselves in their school. I think it comes from people from other schools who like to talk about, well, Norristown is bad because of our reputation from maybe 20 years ago, per se, and that's why we seem to be bad.
Well, I do agree that there's a problem with respect and that it needs to be worked on. I think that we have to realize the students here are human beings. There are going to be problems no matter what we do. And what we need to do is focus on the positive and not on the negative.
Right. I see a hand over here. So you're saying we need to focus more on our own positive image instead of everything that's happening around us negative.
Exactly.
We need to focus more on the positive. How else do you think that we can fix this? That we can kind of upgrade our image in the foreseeable future, in the near future? Does anyone have any suggestions?
I had a major suggestion at the last OMNIUM meeting, and that was to produce our own paper, student-run paper, to send out to the local community. I was talking to someone in Congress, and they suggested that we do something like this after he ran some kind of campaign, and they got negative publicity from the newspaper in the area, and they went out and they touched more people than that local newspaper did, and then they finally coincided with the other newspaper, and they decided that they would run positive articles. So if we do something like that, I mean, it may seem theatrical, but it's really powerful.
Mm-hmm. Well, what about our own wingspan? I mean, what do you think about? What do you think about that? I mean,
I think that's a good thing. Like, that has a lot of positive, and it shows like how we can improve things in the school. If that's got sent out to the local community or just like the parents of the school, I think lots of people would like see, like our image is improving with that.
All right, so one suggestion is sending out a paper to the community saying, this is what's going on in the school and this is what's good.
In addition to that newspaper, I think maybe we could have a person from our school, maybe in the wingspan, working with maybe the Times Herald, and have a little article about Norristown every month or so. Just giving an update.
Do you think if they did something like that, that the article would be good, or would they just criticize the article if maybe there was a grammar mistake, or because our test scores aren't as high as perhaps some other schools are?
I do not think that people will care about the article that much. I mean, when I talk to people at this school, I mean, the newspaper isn't that important. And like, when I get stuff in the mail about blah, 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 this school, that school, wherever, I mean, I don't really care about it. I think it's just stupid. They're just trying to make their image better. We should, like, I'm not sure exactly what we should do, but I don't think the newspapers exactly, or pamphlets or sending out stuff would work as much.
Yeah, what he just said was quite true, and I don't know who said it over here, but image internally in the school is much more important than sending it out to someone else or trying to convince someone else that our school is better than another.
Right, so you're saying that if we convince ourselves and show ourselves inside of the school that our image is okay, then that will, kind of leak out into the community.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think our image is so dependent on what's going on in the community that I really can't agree with what David has just said. I mean, for example, I was trying to get some help from a local congressman, and he asked me what school I went to. I told him, and the reaction that he gave to me was, "I'm sorry, I don't think we can help you." And I get that all the time. People find out I go to Norristown, and their opinion of me immediately changes. And I don't think that our students can be very self-confident when they're getting that around them.
So you're saying it's actually kind of the name of the school. Mm-hmm. And okay, let me get over here.
That's why I feel as if the students respect each other and whatnot, and try to get a more positive image of the school going, instead of all this negative energy that's going on in the school, then maybe people will take us more serious and they will stop stereotyping us. And number one, Norristown, the community, number one, the mayors and whatever, they need to start trying to get, drugs and whatnot and all this negative stuff, the streets, start clearing it up, trying to get us some place for the teenagers to go or something, instead of being out in the street all the time.
Okay.
It's actually our atmosphere. Our atmosphere around here in Norristown, there's nothing else for it to do. And when you have nothing to do, you're sure to return to the negative. And here at Norristown, we're starting in school, we're starting to get more things for us to do, but there's really nothing out in the community. And what they're really looking is at our community. Usually, as we go around to different schools and stuff, or maybe like a event or anything, they're like, oh, that Norristown team, they're starting to come along, they're starting to present a much more better image. So our image is actually getting better on what we're doing. So we just need more things to do to keep everybody just positively flowing.
As we improve things to do within the community. Right. Well, okay.
I agree with that totally, and I think that the students should be the ones who come together within the school. There's only like 12 of us here now, and I don't know. I think that we all need to come together in school and figure out what we can do, more activities, more programs that would interest everyone, not just a particular group, to bring students together to realize that we need to improve our image.
Right. That might be a key. Just more activities for everyone.
Speaking about the community, recently something happened at our school, and when Action News interviewed the chief of police, he responded saying that Norristown students don't have any respect for anyone. And to have that coming from people who are supposed to protect us, our community that we support and they support us, I think, we've got a major problem there, and maybe it's just up to us to...
Right, like having that coming from an authoritative figure is really, saying, wow, what's going on here? Why is this happening?
Okay, my question is to Lisi. Lisi, you're saying we need to respect ourselves first in order to make everything okay? Well, I think a lot of people do respect themselves, and like what Jessica was saying about when she came to the congressman, that makes everyone's self-esteem go down a lot. And even if we're saying, okay, I'm from Norristown, I'm good, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, how are we supposed to let other schools know that we're doing good when we're getting only, bad publicity?
Then you show positive stuff. You don't just because a certain group is bad, don't mean you gotta be bad. You know what I'm saying? Instead of showing all this negative, just show your positive. I mean, I know that we may have been bad, like in the past or whatnot, have a bad reputation, but we don't have to live like that now. This is the future. That was the past. We gotta live now. We gotta just change completely into the positive.
Okay, let's go back.
Okay. But what I'm saying is, I mean, we are doing good things. This is the future, but publicity, they're not coming around when we do something good. You don't see the Times Herald or Action News here right now going, hey, you know, they're doing this talk show about changing their image. Let's be here. They're going to only come when we're doing bad. I think people like to see when Norristown does bad, they feel better to see that someone else is doing worse than other places. You don't hear about other towns. You don't hear about, okay, I'm not going to name a school, but I know of a certain school my cousin goes to. They have drug busts, drug raids. You never see it in the newspaper, but they say every little thing in Norristown.
Okay, well, what if, let me just ask you this, what if we were to have a really positive image event within our school and we had the press come? What do you think would happen then? If the press came and saw something very positive happening, such as you know, a meeting of all the clubs, you know, getting people to sign up, something like that. What do you think?
I have a few comments. First, on what you said, I think that it would be evaluated as what's wrong with the event that they just had, especially within the newspapers. They would try and find out what we did wrong in that event instead of looking to what we did right at the event. Also to what Lacey said about there's no activities going on. That is so untrue. I could give you a list right now of 50 positive activities that are going on in this community. If the Norristown students are too lazy to participate in those activities, that's not the problem with the community. That's the problem with the Norristown students.
I'm not saying in the school, I'm saying outside the school. What are the people that already graduated and whatnot, what are they doing? I mean, in the community. There's nothing here in the community. I mean, we used to have a movie there, I know back in the day. We used to have skating and stuff like that, but now there's no place for young people to go. Where can they go to get off the street? Where can they go to get uplifted?
Okay.
You know, sometimes their parents are negative, you know.
Exactly, but
where can they go?
can I? Just a year ago, I was the assistant coordinator for this huge Earth Day event. We had 200 kids. We had 100 people from outside the community. We had the mayor of Norristown. We had the mayor of East Norton. We had the governor involved. You cannot sit here and tell me that the community is not getting involved, because they are.
Okay, well, let's see. Okay, just a couple here.
Well, I think a lot of what people are saying is that other people are perceiving us differently, and like you said, a congressman said that he wouldn't help you because he said, you know, he found out you went to Norristown. And I think a lot of this, and you're saying that the Times Herald is perceiving us wrong and they're giving negative publicity. And I think that really what we need to do is call them on it. Say, hey, is there a reason why you're giving us bad publicity? Or, you know, can you give me a specific reason why you won't help me? Is it only because I go to the school? Because I'm a decent person and I know, and we're trying to improve our image. And I think if you call them on it and you specify, you know, this is how we feel and we don't feel that it's right, and we're willing to give you, you know, whatever you want, we're willing to give you a monthly article or a weekly article saying what we're doing good in our school, then, you know, maybe they'll say, oh, well, they do have some initiative and they do want to change their attitude and their image. And then it's possible that, you know, they will run our articles and they won't be so negative responding to Norristown High School.
Jerry, isn't the name Norristown, do you think that may have anything to do with it? It's not been this isn't a brand new idea. But what if the name of Norristown was changed? This is something that's been talked about in meetings and just on the side for a long, long time. If the name Norristown was changed, do you think that the students and the community and the nation, the governors, would respond more positively to our school district?
That's okay.
I mean, that's the whole thing. I don't think that the name Norristown, the name Norristown as, like, people have imaged it that way. But it's like, the reason why that this school was named Norristown area is because basically no one wants to officially call it, have it connected to Norristown. And I think we shouldn't be doing, like, changing our name or doing this just to make us look good to the press. We have to do things that have validity and integrity, just so we improve ourselves and our community, not just the press or the state or the governor. I think that's important.
Regardless if we call ourselves Norristown area, or Eagle News, whatever we tend to call our school, they're gonna, you know, they're gonna give us bad image just because we are, you know, Norristown students or the same students of this area.
Well, what if we were to change our name, you know, to anything and have a Stony Creek High School?
But still, we're still the same students from this area, and therefore we're the same people, just with a different name.
And I think changing the name is running from the problem. We have to admit that there's a problem with image, and we have to find out why there's a problem and try to solve it, instead of just running from it. I mean, if you change the name, it may work for a few months, but after that few months, when there's one more incident, that name is now going to have negative connotations.
I think if you change the name, a lot of people will catch on to it. Like, they'll act like, oh, this is something new, this is something fresh and everything, but after a while, it's going to get run down. It's going to be the same thing, so there's really no point to like changing the name because it's just going to go back to the way it was.
I think if you change the name, you don't change the image, because people still gonna be, well, the school that once was called Norristown Area High School. I think if you change the name, you still need to change the image to get a different reaction from people. And to change the image, I think the most important thing is to change the way students talk to each other and communicate with each other.
I don't think it'll be, I mean, if we change the name, that'll be like saying that we don't have no pride in ourselves or pride in our school. And I think there is pride in the school. And what the school needs, we need just to communicate. We need the students to communicate with each other and stop trying to be, stop trying to say something bad about each other or something negative about each other, but just, or about the community, saying what the problems are, but trying to get the students and the community and the parents to try to help the problems out instead of just talking about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, what you mean, Judge.
It's the fact that everybody around here, we're trying to change our image, and just like overnight. It's not going to be an overnight thing. It's going to take a while because we have at least a 20-year rep of being at a bad school. It's the fact that it's going to take time for us to do this, and we just can't change it overnight. We have to go gradually with more events, getting more things. That's why I feel everybody is trying to just change it overnight. It's going to take time.
I don't think you can have any more events until you know that people are going to participate. They don't participate in the events that we have now. And in order to change the school's image, we need to change the school. We need to change the students that attend this school.
I disagree with that. You need to add events that would encourage people to do this. And if you don't get these events going, there's no one else who's going to, join or try and integrate any part of the school into themselves.
The students of the school really right now have no reason to change their behavior or their views. For example, if certain people fight, there isn't really any penalty. They spend a few days in ISS, it's no big deal to them, and we need to give them a reason to change their behavior.
Okay, one thing that Jason was saying, I agree. We're not going to be able to change our reputation overnight. One thing we need to do is maybe be more positive in other places. Last year during the cross, we played some team, I can't remember, I guess it was Penridge, and one of the refs came up to us and said, you guys really did a good job. And we won the game, but they were like, I never thought that Norristown people would be so nice and polite. I think, so that type of thing starts to make people think, well, maybe Norristown is getting better.
Like Jessica was talking about how there's like not many activities, but what we should do is publicize the activities that already happened here. When the student council here hosted the region conference, I think that should have been broadcasted like over the entire like Philadelphia area. That way, I mean, that was like a major thing. Like the students here really came together, and it was like not like one group of friends who did this whole entire thing. It was like a bunch of other people, a whole diverse group, and everyone became friends after that. It was like a really surprising thing. That and other activities that are here, it should be publicized. I mean, that and like what the groups offer. I mean, like people have gone to other countries from this school, and I mean, like they get to travel, they get to go to other states for conferences. I mean, like if those activities were, like just like let known to like the community and the other students. I mean, like just so they know what's offered. I think it would be really great publicity for that, and it would help the image at all. Really.
It's a lack of communication from our school to the outside community and to surrounding schools also. Joe.
I kind of feel that the newspaper is sort of like our parents, like how your parents may criticize you, but still they give you good focus on your good things. Right now, the paper is focused on our bad things, not on other schools' bad things, because they want us to become good and they don't want us to keep doing all this stuff so they want us to change. I kind of feel that they want us to change our behavior and not keep doing these bad things. If you do, we're going to keep putting them in the paper and the media until we finally do something good like we have been doing. Then they'll start going doing that.
I totally disagree with that because of the things that they've covered. It seems like they will not give us a break. Anything that we have done good, it's been grossly, like, I guess, underreported. And it's just inane to think that, like, that the paper would ever want us to do good. It just seems that way.
So far I've heard a couple of things. We're talking about maybe the media giving us a bad image and talking with the media and perhaps focusing them more on the positive aspects of Norristown. That would perhaps change our image a little bit. I'm also hearing about holding more activities, but some people don't seem to agree with that because of maybe people won't show up to the activities. What else could we do to improve the image?
Honestly, I wish that we could have maybe some kind of open house where other schools could come and see our school, because really I've been to other schools and I've viewed their schools, and our school has so much modern technology and it's really so beautiful compared to other schools. During the student council conference, other schools came in there and commented on how beautiful our school was. So maybe if we could have other people see our school for how it really is, they wouldn't really think, oh, Norristown, this is the ghetto school, it's dirty and it has this and that.
I'd like to make one comment on what you just said, that the paper wants us to change. I really don't think that's so, because the way the media is set up, they need a bad guy. They need a scandal, no matter how small it is. And what we need to do is, when the paper is saying, did this bad event occur at your school? Yeah, that did happen, but we need to push it into their faces that, well, one bad event occurred, but 5 good things occurred.
But if we're really, like you're taught, you don't care what people think, just keep on going what we're doing. If we're a really good school, we really shouldn't care what the media thinks or other schools thinks on our achievements. We should be focused on our achievements instead of what other schools think. That's what would probably make us a better school.
I don't necessarily think that the media really wants a bad guy. They just want to report what they think is true. And maybe they're just, they choose not to report necessarily all the good things, and they do report what seems to be a lot of the bad things. But that's why we need to not just sit back and read it and say and criticize them, but instead go off and send them a lot more stuff that is positive. And I think other schools also are not exactly the best schools in the area, and Norristown could be better than them, and they can be the scandals for once in a while. They don't necessarily need a scandal that happens at Norristown. And not that we would push something in their face and say, well, look what happened at our neighboring school district. But just give them more positive things so that they can look at it and they can see, well, they're doing a lot of good things, and then another school had a drug bust, and Norristown hasn't had one in 4 months or whatever like that. And just so I don't think that it all should be pushed on to the media. I think it should be pushed back on us, because we do a lot of good things, but the bad things are also done here, and that's our fault.
Well, I agree with what he said about not caring about what the other schools and what the media said. Because number one, right now in the world, the news is set up of just showing people getting killed, all the bad negative stuff. They only have like I know on Channel 6 they only have maybe 30 seconds of anything positive happening in the communities and whatnot. And what we need to do is just not focus on the news, because regardless, the news is always going to try to have say something bad, because people just like hearing the bad thing. They like hearing that juicy gossip about, oh, this school's this and that. So we just got to, regardless, just not listen to them, just do not care, and try to focus on the school, try to focus on our community, and try to get it better instead of worrying about what the other people are saying.
We really do have to focus on what goes on in the media, because everybody reads the newspaper. Everybody watches the news. And it does affect us, especially when we're trying to get into a college. People reading these things that you send out, they do care whether or not you went to Norristown or PW. It does make a difference.
I just think that if you want something done, I guess you have to do it yourself, because you're not going to change their minds overnight. You know what I mean? If they issue a bad article about Norristown and you know within your heart that Norristown's not a bad school, then like with what Tom said, then we should start making our own paper that we bring out into the community, that people not all of a sudden they're not just going to read it, but over time they'll eventually pay attention to it.
I want to react to what Megan just said, is that, I mean, if you have all these bad things and they kind of almost never report the good things, I mean, that evidently shows a bias. And what we need, and it's kind of funny because there was an incident that was reported in the Philadelphia Inquirer that was a good incident that wasn't reported by the Times Herald. So it shows that, you know, we have some validity with other communities except ours. So I think we just need to rely on other sources then. Yeah.
Right. Well, I see we are running out of time, so I'll have to stop everyone now. But I think really that what we need to do, that it really is a lack of communication, and we need to communicate not only with ourselves, but with other schools and the surrounding community. I'd like to thank everyone for being here today, and I'd like to ask you to join us next year for our Let's Get Together and Talk with OMNIUM. I'm Jerry McGlennigan. Thank you. Bye-bye.